Hi, this is Mrs. Young, and today I'm going to take you through my strategies for getting the most out of a study session. Often I find students will come to me and say that they have read the textbook, taken lots of notes, done lots of study, but they're not doing as well in class, on exams, or in assignments as they would like to. In this session, I'll take you through my strategies for how I plan a study session, how to use your time effectively, how to get the most out of reading, and then also how I would go about taking notes. By the end of this session, you should have some strategies that you can try out that should help you to increase your productivity so that you can get the most out of your study in a smaller amount of time and increase your retention of knowledge and comprehension of what you're learning. Planning for study is really important, and planning what you're going to study when and how long you're going to spend on it is super important. If you study for too long, you can find that you will get really distracted. Often if we're studying for prolonged periods of time, our brain just can't focus for that long, and you find yourself distracted looking out the window or getting up to grab something out of the fridge. So if you plan for your study, you can avoid this. A strategy that I use that I find really effective is the 30-minute P.A.S. It involves 4 steps. First step is to plan your study. The second step is to take up the study. The third step is to survey and have a look back over what you've studied. And the fourth step is to stop and have a break and refresh your brain ready for your next study session. So step 1 of the 30-minute P.A.S. is to plan for your study session, and this should take about 2 minutes. If you were going to drive somewhere, and let's say that you were in the Northern Territory and you wanted to travel up to Darwin and then continue on to Queensland, how would you know where you were going and what you were doing? Would you just travel all through the Northern Territory? You'd have a plan. So we can see here there's a map and the route has been highlighted, and we've highlighted the places that we want to stop along the way on our way into Queensland to continue up into the Cape. So for a study session, if I was, for example, studying physics and I knew that I was going to be doing some calculations in this study session and I was going to be working out of some examples in the textbook, let's say, then I would make sure in my 2 minutes that I had my textbook, I had the writing paper that I need, I have the pens and pencils that I might need, a calculator. If I was, for example, studying in biology and I was reading a chapter on ecology, I would make sure that I had my textbook. I might have a glass of water in case I feel that I need something to drink during my study session. And I would just make sure I have all the materials that I'm going to need for that study session. So with the reading, I would have the textbook, I would have it open to the page that I need to read. If I was reading more than one section, I would have it bookmarked, and I would have some note cards next to me for taking the notes that I take during reading, which I'll explain later. So basically for the planning session, make sure you have all your materials ready and know where you're going and what you're going to do. So what do you want to achieve in your study session? What sections of the book are you going to read, or which problems are you going to do, so that you know exactly where you're going and you don't waste any time once you start studying. The next and most important section of this strategy is to act for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is an ideal time. If you study any longer than 20 minutes, you can start to get distracted. Studying for 40 minutes and being distracted for the last 15 minutes of your study session isn't as effective as only studying for 20 minutes, having a break and then coming back to it. You can achieve much more if you do it in chunks where you can concentrate effectively. Finally, after 20 minutes of studying, spend 3 minutes surveying what you've been doing. So have a look back over the reading or the problems that you've been doing, and just do a quick survey of what you've achieved in your study session and refresh in your brain where you've come from and what you've achieved in your study session. Finally, the last step in the P.A.S. strategy is to take a 5-minute break. This is really important. It gives your brain a chance to refresh. Students ask me what I would do in my 5-minute break, and some of the things that you could do is jump rope is really great. Any type of exercise that doesn't take too long is really great for getting your brain restarted. Get up and have a walk around, have a coffee, hot chocolate. If you've got a pet at home, you could play with the pet for 5 minutes, fetch with your dog. Anything that gets you up and away from your study and gives your brain a break, and you get a break from sitting at the desk. This is how the strategy that I use for keeping a track of how I'm going with the 30-minute P.A.S. It's really easy to sit down, do your 2 minutes of planning, and then say that you're only going to study for 20 minutes, but you get really involved in what you're doing. and you don't stop and take a break. So I use an app on my phone called Ultra Timer, and there's lots of different ways that you could do this, but this is the one that I use. And so I've put in there, and a timer goes off after 2 minutes of planning. Then I have another timer that will run for 20 minutes, and this is continuous. So I just set it up, press start, and then after 2 minutes it lets me know that my 2 minutes is up, and it would continue letting me know my 20 minutes is up, and then alerting me that I need to, at the end of the 20 minutes, survey what I've been over for 3 minutes. And then at the end of the 3 minutes, it tells me that it's time for a break. And I time my break as well for only 5 minutes. It's really easy to finish your study session, then have your 5-minute break that turns into half an hour, and you've lost a lot of study time if you've got a lot of homework and assignments to do. So I have it buzz for me at the end of 5 minutes, and I know it's time to get back to work. So I hope that helps you, and I'm sure that you'll try out some of these strategies, and it will increase your success with studying and maximise your time. Thank you.